Please welcome to the field, from San Antonio, Texas, Crossman.
Fred, you're in trouble, sir.
Why?
Well, because, hey, first of all, welcome, everybody. We are live on the air for the Crossman Show, otherwise known as the Bones Hour. Latest in Crossman news. You can find them online at crossman.org and on Twitter at Crossman. My name is Mark from the Crossman. But the reason why Fred is in trouble and he is grounded this weekend, must stay in his room, is he played some music that I am not allowed to play on the air, I was told. As soon as I reached over with the cord to plug it in, he's like, but you can't play it on the air. So that was not good, Fred. That was not good at all. Anyway.
I want to remain in good graces with our caption heads and staff. They get real protective over that stuff.
They are protective over that. They are very protective over that.
Plus, we haven't made an announcement of the show or anything, so that would be a little premature.
Mm-hmm. See?
But anyway, I was mostly
us.
Proving to you that we have music. And
I know you have music. I know you have music. However, you should be able to play us just a snippet. 5 seconds.
No, not 5 seconds. Not 2 seconds.
You're not being very nice right now.
You should have come to camp and you could have heard it live.
I was
and
freezing.
in person.
So let me tell you. So let's talk about camp real quick, because we just had our camp this past weekend here at Madison High School. And I can't remember where I was on Saturday. No, I was at the Alamo Heights band run. The Alamo Heights band, the marching band, had a run on Saturday, and I was there announcing that. And of course, I had my Crossman stuff, had my Crossman shirt, had my Crossman banner up. And the drum major comes over, and he was like, Crossman, you know. So he was like sitting there just having a fit, and I was telling him, oh, you need to go up to Madison. You know, it's the camp this weekend, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, there's a drum major experience camp coming up that you need to sign up for. Really? I can do that? He had no idea.
Really?
So I talked to the band director, who just came down. It's his first year at Alamo Heights. He was at Smithson Valley before that.
Oh, no kidding.
And he goes, yeah, there's probably only a handful of kids that know what DCI is, that know, and only half of those kids know where the Crossmen are.
It sounds like we better send Joel down there to introduce them to all that.
Exactly. I was like, well, where is Joel Moody? Where is Joel? Joel should come down
Joel here. Is on his way. Him and Rico are on their way up to Dallas. The Crossman Extra event is today.
Nice.
At the there's a Hilton up there downtown. I can't remember the name of the place, but anyway, it's downtown Dallas, and they're playing for a. There's a foundation, insurance company foundation, that has a special event there this evening, and it's the Hilton Anatole. That's it, Hilton Anatole.
Oh, that's a beautiful.
Hotel.
I've stayed there before.
Really? Yeah. So
gorgeous.
7:00, the Crossmen are going to be playing for about 30 minutes or so as the folks come into their event. And
love it.
So they'll all be in uniform and looking good. And Joel and Rico they left around 11:00 to go up there, and they're going to have a short rehearsal when they get there and lay down some tunes and then load everything up and come back.
That's awesome. At least the weather's good for them.
Yeah, really.
Because the camp this weekend, Alamo Heights, a little windy, a little overcast, a little foggy. And I was thinking the whole time, I hope everybody's okay up at the camp in Madison. I mean, you're only 15 miles away, I guess, something like that, 20 difference between Madison and Alamo Heights High School.
Right.
But that can make all the world difference. And then on Sunday, right after that, I went to Temple for the Army Marathon. Started the Army Marathon, 70 degrees, beautiful sunny. Wind came through. Here comes a cold front. Bam. Finished at 17-degree wind chill. Oh. It was 31 degrees, and I was in shorts.
Yeah.
It was ugly.
Same thing happened at
And I was
Madison
wondering how the
this
camp
weekend. Go. Yeah. Well, the Arctic blast showed up. Well, fortunately, it was raining a little bit that morning. It wasn't that cold, but it was raining a little bit, so we moved ensemble rehearsal into the gymnasium. And, man, all of a sudden, Maureen said she went outside to take a phone call because they were rehearsing inside. She couldn't hear. and it was decent. Just a little drizzly. She went back in, then she came back outside, and the temperature had dropped about 40 degrees. It was unbelievable. And some of our folks, after we were done by 1:30 or so, loaded up and out of there, and it took them 9 or 10 hours to get back to Dallas and Denton.
Yeah, I saw Chris was like, that was probably the slowest drive he's ever done on 35, but he finally got home.
Yeah, so they must have, up around Waco and up in that area, they must hit some patches of ice. And so maybe ice-pocalypse will finally stop happening on camp weekends.
I am tired of this weather.
This is not normal.
And this is San Antonio.
I know.
Usually I can imagine what the northern cores are going through.
Yeah, oh, crap. Well, some of the folks are from New York and Pennsylvania area, some of the staff guys. So when they fly home, they hopefully make it because a lot of flights were canceled also. Some people had to stay over.
Wow.
Nicole Barnes, our cymbal tech, we had a cymbal camp this weekend too, an experience for a bunch of young people, and it was a great time. They loved it. They got to play with the ensemble, and most of them had not ever played with such a awesome battery before, so they were really thrilled with that. But anyway, Nicole, her flight was canceled before camp was even over. She found that out, and
wow,
she ended up riding with Buck, our front ensemble tech, up to Austin, and then catching a bus to Dallas, and then she was going to have to wait a whole nother day before she could even get out of town to get back to Philadelphia because they got another 12 inches of snow. So I think they're up to 70 inches now for the winter.
When's it going to stop? Where's the global warming at?
I think somebody's pulling our leg. I
think it's all political.
They forgot to stretch that graph out far enough to see what really happens, right?
I'm telling you. But we are live on the air. The latest in Crossman and DCI news because Fred has some information for us about the DCI. Big changes coming up. We did not get into it last week.
Oh, we talked about getting into it,
but we never did.
Yeah, it's really caused a bunch of people to get excited, except for the folks that were there and watched the whole thing transpire. Every 2 years now, DCI has a rules congress, and we get together somewhere, some city somewhere. Usually it's in Indianapolis. This year it was in Phoenix, and actually in Scottsdale, and it was perfect. Everybody got away from the cold, right? But during that caucus, representatives from design teams and instructional staffs from the various corps, all the drum majors from all the corps, and then all the directors from all the corps get together, and they each have their own track for the 3 days that we're there. And the instructors and designers, part of their track includes going over the rules proposals that were presented back in September, October, along with any other thing that may have developed in the meantime. Well, one of the proposals was put forward by Jim Mason, who is one of the designers, or the head designer, program coordinator for the Madison Scouts. And that proposal, when he presented it to the board of directors, he said, this is my logic. Right now, percussion has 9,000 different toys that they can use. You think about front ensemble, you can bang on anything you choose to pick up, right?
So true.
And even with our battery, over the years, we've had different things mounted on the snares, like a wood block or castanets, various different things and different types of sticks and all that. And in the front, you may see them beating on a brake drum one time, so they have all these voices that they're able to pull from, and then you throw in the synthesizers and how much that opened up the sounds that they have to play with. He said it just seemed that it would be only natural as long as it was played through a mouthpiece like a normal brass instrument, that we would include all brass instruments. So right away, folks jumped on and, they're all going to have trombones or sousaphones or French horns or whatever. And that's not really what I see happening. I mean, my personal opinion is that we may see a soloist on a trombone this year in the front ensemble. Somebody pick an instrument up, or possibly a French horn, or I don't know why someone would use a sousaphone unless it was for some visual impact. Right. But people were right away thinking it was going to be 76 trombones are going to be out on the field. And, maybe if you're doing Music Man or something, or a show that warranted that, but that's not the intent. The intent is to open up a few more voices, allow a little more creativity, and still maintain the impact and power of a DCI horn line. That's
okay,
not
because I'm
changing.
going to play devil's advocate here because my daughter plays saxophone.
Right.
Well, would you see, and obviously we've got DCI obsessed. We got the Scouts listening in. We got DCI listening in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you see, and if we're saying just your opinion, of course,
right?
It has nothing to do with the Crossman or Fred yourself, but just your opinion. Do you see any time like a wind instrument being implemented?
I think we lose our identity if we do that. There is just something special about the power of those horn lines. And when you start mixing in woodwinds, then they have to tone themselves down in order to be able to match up and blend with the instruments that aren't as powerful. So I maybe 30 years from now, I don't know. I would be against it. Let's just put it that way. I think there is something special about our brass ensembles that isn't duplicated anywhere else. So why change it?
Well, that's one of the things a lot of folks, obviously myself being a percussionist, being a snare drummer, I go to performances and watch the snares. Like Tim pointed out that he and I, we could sit there, and a lot of folks can sit there. If that's your instrument, you can tell when the stick strike or anything like that. Same with a trumpet player, when the note, that they missed that note or whatever. There's folks that are pro their instrument that they have been raised on and grew up on, love so much, put so many hours in, that when they go to these performances, that's what they see, that's what they look for.
Yeah.
Obviously, color guard. The girls in winter guard or high school guard, they're going. They're going to watch the color guard because that's where they want to be one day.
That's what they identify with.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's not as if there aren't woodwind players that find a way to be involved in drum corps. It's not closed off to them. They just need to find another instrument, and they do. We have saxophonists playing baritones. We have trombonists playing baritones. We have people that play the flute on the podium conducting. And there is a way. There's always a way, and the quality of the instrumentalists that we have today, they can pick up a different instrument and learn it and be of the quality that is needed to march in DCI.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, where there's been wind players that have said, "Oh, I want to do this." So they either, like we said, some have gone into color guard or they've picked up another instrument,
or they're drum majors.
Drum majors,
yeah.
Right.
The last half a dozen drum majors, I think 4 of them were woodwind players, and the other 2 were brass players. So they find a way.
That's so awesome. Folks, you're listening to Crossman Show, otherwise known as the Bones Hour. If you're watching this or you're listening to us on Spreaker.com, there's a little button down there on the right. It looks like a little chat button, which is exactly what it is. It's like a little cloud that you would get in a cartoon. You click on there, you can chat with us live, chat with Fred and I. If you want to call in and ask Fred any questions, the number is 210-374-0140. Again, if you want to call and put Fred on the spot, if you want to call in and ask Fred any questions, talk Crossman or DCI or the drumline battle and how the Crossmen are going to win it all this year, you can call him at 210-374-0140. This is Mark with the Crossman. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Crossman, world-class drum corps, and I Speak For You radio events want you to save the dates. 13 and 14 June 2014. That's right, the Crossman, Texas's only world-class drum corps, representing San Antonio, Texas to the world, presenting their second annual 1 mile run, walk, stroll, crawl, whatever you need to do. How fast can you run 1 mile? All information on ispeakforyou.net or crossman.org. I say save the dates 13 and 14 June. The run is on the 14th, but the 13th is their MMX, their dress rehearsal, before they go out on tour around the country. Find out more information again at crossman.org or ispeakforyou.net. I love that.
You would play that for an hour, wouldn't you?
I'm going to go get my sticks right now. So, of course, this is crossman.org, the show otherwise known as the Bones Hour. We talk about everything DCI, not just crossman, but DCI across the board. And, of course, the drumline battle. And we've got Chuck on. We've got Vent on. We've got Gary on. And I'd like to welcome those guys and say hello to everybody who is listening. And of course, iText has gone live. I saw that the other day. I was like, woohoo!
Yeah, Vent was real excited. He called me up and said, hey, the text went out. I said, I know. I received it. It was awesome. So that's the start of something really good. There are 400 folks that have their phones registered to the Crossman. They've clicked on that iText link and signed up. And every time they receive a text from iText, Crossman get a little bit of money to help us run our program. So now there were about 65 or so of the 400 that didn't take the second step,
right,
which is to text to 70,000 is the text number, text Crossman, and then that finishes the registration process. So if you're one of our folks and you haven't received that first iText message, then you haven't finished the job. So you need to finish the job. We'll be all good, okay?
It's incredible. Of course, they got the guys talking back and forth on chat right now. Folks, if you're listening to us on Spreaker.com, which you should be, there's a little button on the bottom right. It says, well, on mine it says show all downloads, but that's not what it is. It's a little cloud, looks like a little cartoon cloud that you can chat with. Just click on it, and there's the chat right there. You can chat with us live. So I have a bone to pick with you, Fred.
What
so
did I do
Vin
now?
put on here, hi, Chuck. Love the music clips you've been posting on Facebook the last few days. And Chuck said, thanks, Vin, staying creative. So he's punting music on Facebook, and you're not allowing me to play anything.
If he is,
it's only like small
it's a
bits.
private page.
Ah, okay. All right. So now I'll get Chuck in trouble.
Chuck's in trouble, yeah.
Sorry, Chuck. But now if you want to talk to Fred, you can call him at 210-374-0140 and ask him away. He's going to be able to hear you. We've got a speaker set up in the studio and all the fun stuff, so he's going to be able to hear you. But, the drumline battle is coming up. Obviously, the camp just came up, and we just had a great time. He said, hi, it's not Crossman. So that's right. It's a different page. It wasn't Crossman music. Oh, so, okay, Chuck's not in trouble. Fred's not in trouble. Everybody's good. Everybody's not grounded this weekend. I love it. So much coming up. Obviously, we got another camp coming up in March, even though we just finished in March.
Well, February's a short month. And
it is short.
We do the last weekend of every month. That seems to be when we have the least number of conflicts with other things that are going on in the band and music world around here. It's always tough because there's always something going on. But, yeah, the March camp will be the next one. We will have the last piece of the percussion music. Andrew's putting the polish and finishing touches on that.
I like how you said percussion.
You love percussion.
Percussion.
I know. You would rather we
Sorry, Chuck.
You would rather we didn't have any horns. If we had 80 snare players out there, you'd be a happy guy, wouldn't you?
That's just a dream, sir. That's just a dream. Don't do that to me. I can't even function right now. But no. And then Aiden's on here. Says, as a member of the Crossman, it was great to have the explanation of the new brass rule. Thank you.
Oh, sure. More than happy to.
Well, like I said, it's not because this was going out throughout the DCI. I mean, obviously, I'm part of snares, DCI snares on Facebook and everything, and I was going throughout all the pages. Was we're gonna have 80 trombones now, or 80 French horns, or what have you. But you just explained it perfectly.
I don't see that happening. I mean, we all the creative people understand what we have and what is special.
Right.
And that would be throwing that out the window. And they're just trying to do more things to engage more folks on the audience side. I heard people say, well, it's to get more people involved. Well, that's not really accurate, because if we have 150 members and we're limited to that,
right,
it's just changing the mix.
And that's what I was going to ask. Are you going to up the core? I mean, make it to 175 or 200 members to facilitate this, or are you going to keep it 150?
150 is plenty, because we are already stretching the limits of the housing sites and everything when it comes to gymnasium sizes and being able to fit everybody in. It's like we land a platoon when we get there anyway, with the numbers of people that we have and the equipment and everything. So anything that would aggravate that situation would not be in our best interest. So I think at 150 we're it. That's where we're going to be, and I don't see us changing that anytime soon, unless the housing situation's different some way.
So we're talking about the weather changing drastically on Sunday here in San Antonio for camp. How do you prepare for something like that on the road? I mean, if you're on travel and you guys know you've got a show coming up and you've got to get that rehearsal in, how do you prepare for that?
We have had that stuff happen where freak thunderstorms have come through, or one of these Jaime Alvarez Calderon and myself will have this one thing etched in our mind forever, is the time that I forget what kind of freak storm came through, but the wind, the hail, the rain was blowing horizontal, right?
Right.
And it just kicked up out of nowhere, and we're getting everybody indoors, and it just shut you down, basically. Getting everybody safe, getting everybody closed up, protect the equipment. And it was just one of those freak crazy things. But we always have an eye on the weather. A number of the admin team, Weather Channel is a wonderful thing,
right?
And being able to pick your spot on the map and kind of watch that stuff can keep you out of trouble. But when you lose it, you lose it. You can't get it back.
That was like MMX last year. We didn't prepare for that storm to come through, and obviously we waited a couple hours.
We did what we could, right?
Yeah,
we did what we could. There was no indoor performance venue, so it was going to happen. It was going to happen outdoors, and fortunately, we had a lightning meter on the property, and the good folks from Blossom were there to help us monitor that situation. And as soon as the lightning was gone and they knew it was out of range and it wasn't coming back, we gave it 10 minutes and pushed the button and had the event anyway. Now, because of the wet fields and not wanting to get anybody hurt, we did a standstill instead of marching the show, which is we would prefer to march the show.
Yeah, but obviously the fans that stuck around there in the rain because they didn't leave. There's only maybe one or two left, but the hundreds of folks or thousands of folks that stayed out there, they got what they were there for.
Yeah, we had a crowd of about 2,500 people.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
And,
so I got a question for you, Fred.
Yep.
Max Smith, and before I get to Max's question, is we talked about that. How important is social networking, obviously, and the apps on your phone. Obviously, we have weather right there on your phone. You can see instantly what's going on. It wasn't like that 40 years ago when the Crossman started.
Oh, no. 40 years ago, I don't know how they took care of that kind of stuff. I bet there were a few incidents because they weren't as able to be as well prepared. But you always have a rain plan, and the rain plan is contingent upon the facilities that you have, whether it's be able to be indoors or not.
So Max got a question for you, Fred. It said, all of us that have been marched or have been involved with the drum corps activity have gone through the challenging process of trying to describe the activity to someone who's never heard of it. How do you concisely describe drum corps to someone new? And I know you get this on a weekly basis.
This is the elevator speech that you're supposed to have in your pocket when you try to explain something, and it isn't easy. And part of the reason that it isn't easy is because we have switched instrumentation. A lot of times, though, if you just say drum and bugle corps, a lot of people know what that is.
Right.
They figure that out. It's just that it has evolved to such a high level. And what was drum and bugle corps 30 years ago or 40 years ago is not what drum and bugle corps is today. I mean, you think of the quality of the musicianship, the difficulty of the drill, how fast they're moving, how hard the music is. It's just like anything else that evolves; it just gets better. You work at something long enough, it's going to get better. And now, drum corps is DCI. Part of it is the 43rd year, I believe. And there are corps out there that have been around for 75 or 80 years. So the way I describe it is drum corps is brass, percussion, and color guard. And it's a marching show, 11-minute marching show. And that's how I describe it on a football field. And most people got a pretty good idea of what that would look like.
Yeah, because they think of their high school marching band, which DCI is above and beyond your typical high school marching band, unless you're here in San Antonio and you're at Reagan or Johnson.
Well, we have a lot of great band programs here, but they still don't exude the same level of excellence. They are great programs and probably some of the best programs in the nation. But there's something special about a drum corps when you look at how high of a level of achievement they have. I mean, you really can't compare the color guards between the high school color guards and DCI's color guards. The batteries, the batteries are good, but the batteries that are in DCI are just unbelievable, head and shoulders. And they are the best of the best. You're taking the best, let's just look at the battery. You're taking some of the best collegiate players, more than likely, like an all-star team, and putting them on the field together. So, and they're playing 12 hours a day, for 11 weeks.
So true.
They better be better. They've had a lot more rehearsal time, and they're getting some really great instruction. And the same with the horn lines. If you were to play your trumpet as much as you play your trumpet in a DCI season, you couldn't help but get better and stronger. It's 80 days straight.
Yeah, because I know, and I hope that answered your question, Matt, because I tell folks when they ask me, well, what's a Crossman or what's world-class drum corps? And I say, well, have you ever heard of DCI? Or if you have your smartphone, go to DCI.org. What I'll do is I'll go on mine and literally show them a video. Go on crossman.org, look at multimedia video, and then show them a performance. And they're going, oh, wow. And so a lady told me once in Louisiana, she goes, oh, it's just like a marching band. I go, no, it's not like a marching band. No, because my marching band, when I marched, was sideline to sideline. We never, like I said, if we had to go backwards or diagonal or anything like that, I'd be laying on the field. But
so it was real symmetrical, military.
You went from you stayed on the 50-yard line and you went from sideline to sideline. We didn't go anywhere else. That was our part as our snares, because they couldn't ask us to do anything more because we didn't even know what left or right was. That's how bad our guys were. But it's one of those things, like, you see drum corps, and it's getting bigger, and it's getting more and more famous. Right. I'll say, even though it's been around for years and years, but it's getting more popular because the Alamo Dome, obviously, when it comes through for the Southwestern Championships, there's a lot of folks there. Right. Obviously, for Worlds in Indianapolis, it was packed. For the drumline battle, first year ever, packed for the drumline battle.
Yep. Pretty awesome. Good things happening, and we'll continue. The DCI board and the DCI membership are working together in a great way and just trying to grow this activity and promote it. The two initiatives, the Sound Sport and Drumline Battle, will help fill in a support level for people and a way for them to find their way to the top of the pyramid. So lots of good things happening. And there have been folks that said, in the past I heard this, drum corps is dying or whatever. That's not accurate. DCI had its best year third out of 42. Okay, third best year out of 42, and the largest sales dollars in tickets and everything that we do ever. So. Right at $11 million in activity, so that's growing. That's the largest ever, and we have plans for it to grow even more this year.
And it's just amazing because you got the theaters going on, the drumline battles coming on, Sound Sport coming on, and Genesis and I were on Facebook the other night talking. They're looking forward to coming back, and they're already thinking up things. And these are
Chris
folks
and them are working real hard.
Yeah.
They relocated to Austin. They were down in the valley, and they moved up to Austin, and I think there's just more opportunities for them right now. We're working together on the Steps of the Capitol Building event, and they're coming to our drumline battle, and if they can, depending on how they do and getting their music underneath them, they'll probably play a standstill there too. And then they're invited to the event up in Dallas on Father's Day.
Nice.
So we should see them at both, all three places will travel together, and I think the Guardians are trying to do the same thing.
And that's where we can grow DCI, grow to Crossman, is go to the grassroots. Go to the schools like Alamo Heights High School here in San Antonio, where they told me maybe 5 of their students know what DCI are, and maybe 2 or 3 of them know about the Crossman. And I was going, are you kidding me?
Right.
So... Whereas over here in Northeast School District, where you have Johnson, obviously Reagan, who have members in the Crossman.
Well, there's a lot of folks that are teaching band at the high school and middle school level that marched DCI
Right.
when they were younger, and so they're teaching in all these different schools. So they want to show their students just how, what to shoot for. The level of excellence that you see at DCI is something they can work towards in their own programs.
Right.
And so they show them that. The way I got introduced to it was Mark Chambers was the band director at Reagan High School, and my kids were in the Reagan band, and he said, you should come to this DCI event that happens at the Alamo Dome. Oh, really? What's that? I'd never heard of it before, and so I remember we went to that show probably, I think it was 2001 was probably the first time I've ever seen a drum corps show.
It's amazing. So, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And, of course, if you have any questions, you can chat with us live on Spreaker.com. This is the Bones Hour. We got Fred in the studio, where he and I are going to have a drum roll competition here when we get back. Again, this is the Bones Hour. Find out more information at crossman.org. We'll be right back.
Let me find that.
Oh, yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Crossman, world-class drum corps, and I Speak For You radio events want you to save the dates. 13 and 14 June 2014. That's right, the Crossman, Texas's only world-class drum corps, representing San Antonio, Texas to the world, presenting their second annual 1 mile run, walk, stroll, crawl, whatever you need to do. How fast can you run 1 mile? All information on ispeakforyou.net or crossman.org. I say save the dates 13 and 14 June. The run is on the 14th, but the 13th is their MMX, their dress rehearsal, before they go out on tour around the country. Find out more information again at crossman.org or on ispeakforyou.net.
Nice commercial. Mark, you do a good job with
I had to
those
turn that up.
commercials.
I had to turn that up. It's 1 mile.
What's that?
Have you started training yet?
Oh, yes.
You're like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
On the treadmill this week. I told you that I had been on the elliptical machine. I've done that for a long time. So I said, you know what? It's time to start getting on the treadmill and crank up the elevation a little bit and get the pace going.
Because what was your time last year?
I think it was 12:30.
Okay, so you got to go under 12 minutes this year.
I'm shooting for 10.
Whoa.
Now, when I ran it. So here's my training, right? I'm at a half a mile, and I had it at 10-minute mile pace, and my heart rate was up to about 190. So I think I'm probably a little bit trying to do it too fast.
Yeah, you need to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
What we're talking about, folks, is the second annual Crossman 1 mile run. It's the night after MMX. It's obviously MMX on June 13th, but with your $20 entry fee right now, because the price is going to go up June 1st, but your entry fee for $20 right now, you get entry into the MMX.
That's a $10 ticket.
That's $10 right there.
Yeah.
You get a T-shirt, which is probably another $10. So basically, you're covered already.
Yeah.
You're going to get some incredible food. You're going to get a medal if you win. If you are a fast person, and you win the overall, and you get under, if you're a male, under 4:30 a minute for the mile, you're going to get $200 cash.
That'll be Roger Bannister.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're under
That's
5 minutes,
a trivia question. Who is Roger
Bannister or
Yeah.
Jim Ryan?
Or Jim Ryan.
There you go. Steve Scott. Everybody's like, what?
Him I don't know, but the other two. I'm a little older than you are.
Oh, here we go. So, but if you're a female and you run under 5 minutes, you're going to get $200. The first male Crossman alumni or active, it doesn't matter, you are going to get $100. First female Crossman active or alumni, it doesn't matter, you're going to get $100. So that's $100, and then you're leaving on the road that day. So,
well, I could use that $100.
You need to be first.
I will.
And Vince like the first to break the 4-minute barrier. That is very, very true.
Yes.
So what does Vint win?
He wins my undying friendship.
There you go. Very nice. So we're going to give out tickets to MMX with a trivia question, which Fred and I are going to come up with on the next commercial break, not to make it too easy, because last time I did it was like, what's the Crossman website? And someone's like, crossman.org. Okay, yeah, you're correct.
That was really hard.
Yeah, because he happened to be a Crossman, so it was I hope he knew it. But no, we're going to give away 2 tickets to MMX
and a pair of innovative percussion snare sticks.
I love those. Vince, like, I win a free text. Yes, you do. You go to iText. Vint, you go to iText, and you'll get that for me. Just make sure you do all the steps, and obviously go with a Crossman to get those texts. Again, iText, a great program. Vint, if you want to call in to talk about it on the air, you go to 210-374-0140. Call, and we'll put you on the air and talk to you live about the iText program. But that's one of those incredible things that we talk about, social media really driving the force of how the future of DCI and the Crossman go.
Yeah, when you think about it, advertisers are really struggling to find their place, and the world's changing and changing pretty quickly.
Right.
So the idea of just buying a television commercial and playing it 100,000 times on the 3 networks is long gone. Now everything's so fragmented that they have to find other ways to do it, and the iText program allows them to get to the market that they're looking to get to and get to their customers and also help the charities. So it's a win-win for everybody.
That's so true. I had a radio station here locally, big national chain, asked me, well, what's your, and there's right there, there's Vint, and asked me, what's your marketing? Who do you have, what's your age groups and all that stuff? I'm like, I don't know. I get like 400 something listeners for the Crossman. I don't know what the age groups are, but they're listening for the Crossman.
Right.
So over 400 listeners, that's pretty cool. So of course we've got Vint from iText on the phone. Vint, how are you doing?
I'm great, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing good. Fred's sitting here blushing and really red because he knows that the iText program just went live, and I've already got a text from it. So we're looking forward to it. Tell folks a little bit more about the iText program.
iText program is a way to support great causes, and I can't think of a better cause than supporting the Crossman Drum and Bugle Corps. And so supporters can do this, and it's at no cost to them, as long as they have a cell phone with an unlimited data text plan. We won't inundate them with too many texts. We'll never do more than 3 a day, and we're going to customize them to where the advertisements you receive are based on your personal interests and preferences in life. So a few minutes of your time, you can help save yourself some money, and you can generate some ongoing revenue for the Crossman, and that's a great thing to do. We think it's a no-brainer. No cost to Crossman, only benefits to them, and no cost to Crossman supporters, only benefits to them as well.
It's a win-win deal.
It is, and Gary's on the chat, and he's saying the Texas High band boosters are doing it as well. Now, that's like you said, there's a lot of organizations that can benefit from this, and it's a great cause. It's another one of those things that we're moving forward, DCI, and obviously the Crossman, and iText is going to do that for us.
Helping support the marching arts, if you will, whether that's high school bands or drum corps. Since I grew up in that world, I am fond of that world. I'm addicted to that world. If I can help support these groups, I am tickled to death. And a great byproduct of reaching out and doing this is I meet awesome people like Fred and Mark and Gary.
The $5 will be coming to you in an iText, sir. The $5 will be coming to you in a text.
You can tell that Vint ain't from around here.
Where are you from? You got that crazy North Texas accent.
Let's try Mississippi. I'm right on the Alabama-Mississippi border.
Oh, so you're just a suburb of San Antonio. Okay, I understand.
I could tell it wasn't New York City.
Right, it wasn't New York City. So how's everything going over there, Vin? Are you going to be able to come over here and watch the Crossman and the MMX and all that fun stuff?
Oh, I sure hope to. I got to go meet Fred and the group a couple times on tour last year, and got to go to one of the, I think it was the March rehearsal last year as well. So, and the golf tournament. So, anything Crossman I can do, I'm all for it.
Oh, the golf tournament. Now, Fred said he has a 3 handicap at putt-putt on a 9-hole. So, do you think you can get Fred this year at the golf tournament?
I'm going to let Fred win. I'm going to play customer golf.
Vint, you don't want to watch your score go that high. I'm resigned to driving the golf cart around. You don't want to put a golf club in my hands. It is not pretty.
It is not pretty. But
Yeah.
iText, so where can people get more information about it, Vint?
Well, if you'll go to the Crossman website, there's information with a link right on the home page where you can click on the iText button, and it'll take you to a website where you can start your enrollment. And like Fred pointed out a little while ago, make sure you take step number 2 as part of the process and text in the keyword that you will be prompted to do as part of the process. Send the word Crossman to the number 70,000, and we have to have that step in there to activate you in the system. And you can also go to the Crossman, their page about raising funds for the new uniforms. There's information about getting to the iText link there as well. So do one of those 2 things and do it now.
There you go. Do it today. Why wait?
That's right.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, thanks for calling over there at the Alabama-Mississippi border there, Vint.
Thank you all much. I'll start listening back on my laptop again.
All right. Got you, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, Vin.
Bye. That's such a cool program because, like I said, 40 years ago, how would Drum Corps International or Crossman get things done? And now it's all, we can do everything mobile.
It's incredible, yeah. Just imagine you have signed up for iText.
Right.
And you walk into the McDonald's and they have a special deal for you that day, and it saves you a couple bucks. Well, it didn't cost you anything to sign up.
That's true.
You just received that text message. It actually saved you some money, and the Crossman benefit from it.
That's awesome. Of course, go to crossman.org for more information. This is the Bones Hour. We're going to take a quick commercial break. It's going to be about 1 minute and 1 second. It's about 61 seconds long, and then which is about how fast Fred's going to run the 1 mile. And then we're going to be right back with that trivia question. Winner gets 2 tickets to the MMX and Innovative Percussion drumsticks signed by Fred Morrison and Tim Green. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Crossman, World Class Drum Corps, and I Speak For You radio events want you to save the dates. 13 and 14 June 2014. That's right, the Crossman, Texas's only World Class Drum Corps, representing San Antonio, Texas to the world, presenting their 2nd annual 1 mile run, walk, stroll, crawl, whatever you need to do. How fast can you run 1 mile? All information on ispeakforyou.net or crossman.org. I say save the dates 13 and 14 June. The run is on the 14th, but the 13th is their MMX, their dress rehearsal, before they go out on tour around the country. Find out more information again at crossman.org or at ispeakforyou.net. All right, so here's the question that we came up with. For the 2 MMX tickets and the Innovative Percussion sticks signed by Fred Morrison and Tim Green. But first, we're going to the chat. Everybody's like, oh, they're all ready. They're ready to go. It will take some internet research, I will tell you that, unless you know right off the top of your head, which you probably don't.
Or if you were at the camp.
Or you're at the camp.
Yeah.
That's right. So, Vint, of course, thanks everybody. Nothing like hearing how persuasive your southern accent is on the air. That was my Georgia accent right there. And Aiden's like, I know that the Crossmen are getting new uniforms for the 40th anniversary. I was wondering if Fred, could shed some light on the design process.
Oh, sure. We made the decision back in the summer that it would be a great way to celebrate our 40th year. And we were working on 10 years of history with the current uniform, so we are definitely due. Started off by Ed and I saying, okay, we're going to do this. And we know who our uniform provider is. It's FJM. We're Fred J. Miller Corps. We have been as long as I known and before my time. And so we knew that Michael Cesario would be involved in the design process. So we started off by contacting FJ Miller, talking to Michael and saying, these are the things that are important to us. One of the important things is that as soon as we come out of the tunnel, there is no confusion as to who's coming out of the tunnel.
Right.
That we will be readily identifiable as the Crossmen. we really liked the look of the white Aussies that we started using in the last few years. I think it really brightened us up and made it really visible, not only when we're walking in the parking lot, but from up high. So we wanted to maintain that. And that they asked what our colors are, and we also wanted some flexibility in the design, because it seems like the direction that the activity is going in is that you have the ability to adapt your uniform to the show design, where before that uniform might have been a fixed design, and then the guard was the only thing that changed their uniforms up each year. So having that flexibility was important to us. So with all of those details, Michael gets his pencil out and his ink and starts drawing stuff up. He sends us the first prototype, which we showed to the corps. We showed to the folks at the December camp. Showed them these are the ideas, and on that there were a few concepts that showed, okay, what if we did a jungle show? So it had the wild animal look,
right,
that you could adapt the front of the uniform to, and the gauntlets and a couple other items. And then, okay, well, what if it was, I don't know, spaceships or something? Dream
oh my
something
goodness.
Up. Well, so there were about 3 or 4 different examples of what that same uniform could look like by just adapting, the front part of the jacket itself. So we got those prototypes done. We made and took some direction from that, and asked Michael to change up a few things, and said, okay, this year's show is going to be about gypsies, and we think these are the primary colors of what that would look like. What would the uniform look like in that iteration? So we got the next version of it. Michael got his ink out and drew it up and sent it to us, and we're pretty happy with that. And Ed said, okay, well, that looks great. How about these few minor changes? So we're not going to get another drawing. They're producing the prototype now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we thought we might have had it by this past weekend, but that hasn't happened yet. There's a new printing process that we're using on that material, so I'm sure that took a little bit of time to get that stuff done. But I expect we'll have it soon, because we have to make the final decision by April 1st.
So how do y'all sit there and make that decision? I mean, do you go to Perico's and do a big round table and say, okay, here it is, and you have Joel or...
We'll put it on someone,
yeah,
and then we'll take a bunch of photographs and circulate it to the design team that isn't there, and then I'm sure Ed will be there, and I think the music designers will be there, and the guard will be back. Well, no, the guard won't be back till the end of the month, so it'll have to happen sooner than that. But we'll circulate that stuff to the design team and get their, blessing or no blessing, and it's time to pull the trigger at that point.
I thought as the executive director, you just stand there going, "Yep, that's it."
You mean
I say so.
Draw it myself?
Draw it, yeah.
No.
Get your Crayolas out, have some fun with it.
That's the one great thing about this activity is there's lots of talented people that have a lot better expertise in those things than I do, and the first job I have in my role as director is to surround myself with great people, and I believe we've done that. And
that's awesome.
We keep tuning it up every year, and it gets a little better each year. We learn from every experience. So I think this is the best Crossman design and instructional team that we've had.
Woo!
So
Put it on the record.
We got some young guys too.
Put it on the record.
And the nice thing about that is we got some guys that they're just hungry, and anxious and talented, and will do, I'm sure, a really great job. So I'm pretty happy with how things are going, how well everybody's getting along. Our new drill writer is awesome. Mike Hardiak was at the camp this weekend, and just watching him and seeing what there was no drill being learned this weekend.
Right.
He was there to evaluate the music and our ability to play it, and how difficult certain things were for certain instruments, so that he could have a game plan on how he would start to put the dots on the paper.
Wow.
So,
and that's many hours.
Yeah,
that are going into
I don't
it.
know that we've ever been in the position to do that this early. That happens eventually, but not this early.
That's a good thing, though.
Our drill will be done by April, and that in itself will be a big change from last year. You know, we had in the past we've been probably done by move-ins, but now have a whole month or so to be able to blend it with the music and tear it apart, you know, and see, maybe change this or that, or be able to see where there may be some issues that, you know, once you start teaching it and you get into that 80-day grind, it's really hard to change stuff. So it's much easier to change it before you actually have it on the field.
That's so true. Yeah. So we talked about that at the beginning of last season, though, was the first, what you do at MMX is not a lot different, but there is differences between what you perform in MMX to the World Championships in Indianapolis. Yeah,
the drill changes a little bit here and there. You add things. There's body movement that isn't there in the very beginning. Those changes happen, and usually every year we'll have 2 or 3 days where we know that if there are any places that need to have drill changes, that those things are written and we put them in place and try to clean them between then and the end. You know, that's the least amount. It's a balancing act. The least amount of changes that you have to do, the better.
Right.
Because then you can polish what you have. And then in addition to that, you're able to add things to it to make it better rather than trying to fix what you have. So this is one of the hardest things I've ever been involved with. There's lots of balls in the air, lots of things, lots of details that have to go right in order to have a successful season.
And that's not just Crossman, but it's across the board.
That's everybody, yeah. I'm sure the only corps that's happy probably is whoever has the gold medal at the end, right? Everybody else knows that they could have done this, that, or the other thing better. And probably even the champion feels that, we could have done this better.
We could have tweaked this a little bit or done this. But like you said, I mean, obviously this season's planning started before Worlds at Indianapolis.
We were talking about stuff in July and early August, and then we had our first design meeting in around September, October. And it's probably really the second design meeting because there's enough talking going on at championship week, and there's enough of those folks around that we have a general idea of what direction we're going in.
Yeah, because as we talked about, folks, I mean, it's DCI across the board, not just Crossman, but with the Cavaliers, everybody else, the regiment is. There really isn't an off season for staff or musicians. You're always perfecting what you do.
Yeah, there's a week, right after you get home that you can probably say, okay,
you're
I'm not going to think about anything.
Yeah.
You're fixing the house from all the disrepair it had from the 90 days you were gone or whatever. Right. But if you want to be great, that's what it takes. Years ago, there were a lot of part-time corps directors, and now most of them are full-time corps directors, and that's just because of how complex this thing's gotten. And you figure the budgets, I don't know what it cost 20 years ago, but I'm sure it didn't cost $1 million to do what we do.
Right.
And now it's upwards of that in a lot of places.
That's something. So the trivia question is, I've got people over here on chat going, okay, bring on the trivia question. Bring it on. Let's go. The trivia question is, who is the new battery coordinator for the Crossman? Who is the new, I should have did the da, 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 da.
Is that Jeopardy?
I think it's Jeopardy.
Okay.
I have that theme on here, actually.
See, that would be the answer, right?
Yeah, the answer is blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Answer, who is, yeah. So who is the new battery coordinator for the Crossman is the trivia question. Winner on chat. You have to be on chat. I'm sorry. Or you can text us to us. Oh, I think Gary already got it.
Gary's been paying attention.
Gary knows Crossman.
I noticed.
And what's the answer, Fred?
Dan Allen.
There you go. Gary got it. Ding, 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 ding.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Dan, we knew we were bringing him in probably for the last couple of months, but his first camp was this weekend, and you got to love the guy. He really brought a lot of great information, and the kids really love him, so he's a great addition. Derek has assumed more of the caption head responsibilities. Tim Green has been hired as the director of percussion or bands. I can't remember which title at Auburn University. So
that's a good school.
Tim's got a lot more responsibilities over there when he was a grad assistant before.
Yes.
So we're juggling that and trying to make it work for everybody. And Tim will always be a Crossman guy, and he'll be around. But Derek's had to assume more of the responsibilities. He stepped up, so that meant we needed to have somebody that when Derek wasn't there could handle those reins and also handle that coordination that needs to happen between the staff and the members on the battery side. And he brings a wealth of experience. I mean, this guy's got a bio that definitely will help. And real smart guy, electrical engineer. And he got out and said, "You know what? I don't like sitting in this cubicle all day designing these electrical parts. I want to go back to drumming." So he just is teaching, and I think he's on the staff of the Blue Knights indoor line, and he's been involved with that stuff. And he's got a really great resume, and we'll post that here pretty soon. But a lot of great knowledge, great chemistry too. I mean, you got to fit all these people together, and they have to be able to work together well. And
chemistry is very important when you're when you're trying to get a battery that size and that so many perfectionists in there to work together. I mean, like you said, the chemistry's got to be there.
Well, the last thing you want to do is blow up the chemistry on the staff bus.
That's right.
Because then a lot of things don't go right.
Right.
And I'm, I always feel pretty good about this time of the year because things don't really start to rear their ugly head until we're in the heat of battle. But I feel this is probably the best I've felt about folks getting along and working together well, and since we made the move.
That's amazing. And of course, Aiden's on, and he's saying should have asked a brass question.
Oh, we can do that next week. How's that?
That could be the next question.
Yeah,
that could be the next one.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing because there's so much going on, and it's one of those things like I said, it's across the board. It's not just Crossman. This is a Crossman show, the Bones Hour. But there's so many folks. I mean, like yourself, you're on the executive directors. You are on the board for DCI. Your counterparts are going through the same thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're all busy guys doing stuff, and their efforts, if they aren't involved in directly just the drum corps itself, a lot of them have larger organizations where they're juggling winter guard and winter percussion, and a lot of them have bingo operations. It's just like like a conglomerate, just all in support of the drum corps activity.
And you've talked about real quick that obviously one of our great sponsors, Gotta Go Trailways, have stepped up. They're getting more and more corps to support out there.
They're getting more corps, and they've grown their company. I talked to Tom a couple of weeks ago, Tom Fox, who is my main contact over there, and they acquired a second bus company, probably 6 or 8 months ago, Buses by Bill up in the Dallas market. And now Gotta Go and Buses by Bill combined have over 100 drivers.
Wow!
And it's a lot of pieces of equipment. They've picked up a number of universities in the Dallas and Fort Worth market where you've all seen the smaller buses that almost look like the rent-a-car shuttle things that are hauling people around the campuses. Well, they've got a bunch of that business now and continuing to grow that. So the company's really aggressive. There's some young guys that are looking to make their mark on the world, and they're doing some great things. So it's great to see, and of course we love having them as one of our supporters, our presenting sponsor that help carry us down the road safely, and they've got great folks working for them. It's great customer service.
I wonder how long and Aiden may know this answer to this, of course. I wonder how long it takes them to clean the buses after the tour.
Well, our kids do a great job cleaning the stuff up. Yeah, I mean, our goal is to leave it better than we found it.
Of course.
Yeah, and that comes down to we're talking about the motor coaches or the schools that we're in, as housing sites. So we want them to look great when they're done. I'm sure other groups don't. I'm not talking about drum corps. I'm talking about maybe other groups that are on tour don't take care of them quite like that, and they expect it to be cleaned up for them. But when you live on that thing for 60 days, you better be doing some cleaning here and there.
And it's funny because we never cleaned our bus when I was in drums because we expected someone else to do it because we were spoiled. But so Vin is on there going, "Hey Gary, do you have any drumsticks I can borrow?" And I say, "I do." And he goes, "I was trying to steal Gary's prize." And Gary, of course, said, "Let me check with a Texas High percussion instructor." So that was a great answer. Gary's off to the UIL contest. On with the show. Gary, good luck to all those folks over there in Texarkana with the UIL contest.
Yeah, we're global, aren't we?
Global.
Mississippi, Alabama, Texarkana.
That's right.
Wow.
And next week I'll be at Surfside Beach for spring break. Woo, spring break! And I'll have my Crossman stuff with me. So
I'm not going anywhere near that
Don't
place.
go near the coast next week, I'll tell you that. But, folks, again, if you have any questions, you can go on crossman.org. Follow them on Twitter at Crossman. Of course, you're on Facebook as well as Crossman. And you can obviously email us if you have any questions at info@ispeakforyou.net, and we'll get those questions out for you. Congratulations on our trivia question. Next week, the trivia question will cover the brass section.
That's it. I got to put my thinking cap on.
We got to come up with something.
One.
There you go. We have to think of something. But thanks, everybody, for listening. And, of course, this is Russian Christmas on behalf of the Crossmen. Thank you again for listening. God bless. Take care. Fred, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you next week.